all of this started by this guy posting his theory on the fair value of a currency and him coming up with these calculations. He and then created the website coinfairvalue.com. It has been up for over a year, and now it is circulating amongst all of us, quite popular right now. What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And today we're going to take a look at coin fair value. Now, I had to do a lot of deep diving into this, and I've noticed in the XRP community, this website is being shared like crazy. It has gotten super popular, and I wanted to see, well, is there any reason why it's so popular? Let's take a look and let's dive in and see, is any of this accurate and where is this coming from? Is this some type of big company doing this? Is this one person doing this? Are the calculations in it correct? So I have spent the whole afternoon really trying to figure out where coin fair value comes from. So I figured we could take some time and dive into what all of these little metrics mean right here, how you can read this quickly and easily, and then figure out where do they get the information from. And I'm going to really just leave it up to you guys to decide whether or not it has any veracity to it, or if it has any value, or if it's worth anything. I'm going to try to keep my opinion out of it as much as possible. I'm really just going to present to you where it comes from. So let's start by just diving into what all of these metrics mean. Over on the left side, we have the name of the asset that we're going to be reviewing. And then right here, we have the current price of the asset and what it's trading for at this exact moment. Right here is the fair value. So this is what we're going to dive into here in a minute. But this is what their calculations state the current fair value of the asset is. Right here, we have the price over the fair value. So you take the price and divide it by the fair value, and it gives you a ratio. Anything that is at a 1.0 means that it's valued, its current price is equivalent to what they believe the fair value of that asset is. If it is greater than a 1, like in this example, a 1.21, so Bitcoin is $7,232 and the fair value is 5,965. So anything greater than a 1 means that the price is overvalued compared to what the fair value is. And anything below a 1 means that with their calculations the price is less than what the fair value is. So I've been wondering why this has gained so much popularity, and after doing a lot of research, I kind of am coming to the conclusion that the reason why this is circulating so heavily throughout the XRP community is because XRP is tremendously undervalued on this scale. I have determined that this website has actually been around for longer than 1 year, and these calculations have been around for longer than 2 years. But for some reason in the last week, this has gained tremendous popularity, and I'm starting to think it actually just might be because somebody noticed that it's way undervalued on their calculations. So what I did was I went over here in the corner and clicked on Learn, and here we go. All the reading material you could need with links to other places. Now, I am not going to dive tremendously into these calculations because, I think everybody has had a dark time in their life or several dark times. And certainly one of the darkest times of my life was the summer in college where I had to take Calculus 1 and Calculus 2. And while I do love mathematics, I use mathematics every day in my business. Calculus is not one of the ones that I enjoy. I see integration in here, deltas, all this stuff. I am not going to dive deep into the calculus of how they've determined this, but hopefully somebody can go out there and cross-check these calculations and make sure that they are correct. Now, right here, the very first thing we start off with is what is a fair value? And we can dive into that a little deeper, but just in a broad example that they've used, they say, like when you go to a grocery store and you go to buy a banana, you already have in your mind what you perceive to be a fair value for a banana and for you to buy it and consume it now. But is that different from what the fair value of something would be like if you were going to be investing in bananas and you knew that there was going to be a banana shortage over the next few years? Would the fair value be different if you were accumulating, saving based on the fact that you think the price of bananas are going to be higher later? So we come down to how they came up with this model. And it says this website is based upon the currency's fair value model published by at PABLOMPA in 2017. And you can read the whole article here. So here's this person who posted this on Steemit 2 years ago. So in this article, I present a brand new rational model, which I have called currency's fair value. So this website is based off this one person who came up with this model. This model can be used to assess the compounded fair value of a currency in terms of another currency. For the first time, thanks to the blockchain technology into this model, it is feasible to calculate the fair value of a currency. I will show that without making use of any market data at all, one can estimate the price of a blockchain currency in terms of another, and the error be very small. The former model will be empirical proof that the model is right. The other proof is the rational proof, which could take us down to praxeology. All right. So one thing I found very interesting right at the gates, and that led me digging a little further, was what is a fair value? The concept of fair value might sound familiar to an investor. There are two kinds of assets, those whose fair value is intrinsic and those whose fair value can be expressed as a function of intrinsic fair values. Well, when we head back over here and we see what is a fair value, the concept of a fair value might sound familiar to an investor. There are two kinds of assets, those whose fair value is intrinsic and those whose fair value can be expressed as a function of intrinsic values. So I said, whoa, wait a minute, that's the exact same thing. So this is just a Steemit post, and this is like supposedly a very legitimate website, but either the website is plagiarizing this Steemit post or this Steemit user created this website. So when we dig down in here, it has a lot of the same things that are copied that are in the other article, or not in the other article, but in the Learn More section of Coin Fair Value. And here's all of the integration and calculus that just brings back those memories of that summer where I stayed up from. I just didn't sleep that summer. That's what happened. So back on over to Coin Fair Value. And let's see here. So money transactions. So they're determining the way they're determining the price or the fair value is confusing due to the fact that you kind of have to have a good understanding of calculus. You have to have a good understanding of calculus. And so it talks about the velocity and the transactions per day. Um, How do you know the velocity of money of the coins? As we've discussed, the velocity of money represents the overall willingness of the market to trade a particular currency, which is often influenced by a number of factors. One thing that I noticed in here is they did have to make assumptions in these calculations. They mentioned that some of their calculations are based off 14-day exponential moving averages, and some of them are calculated on 1 year moving averages, so 365-day moving averages. And they mentioned that a short term large change in the transactions could create an incorrect calculation in the model. So, so if you need to know how to calculate it, you can go ahead and hit pause here. Hopefully read through that. If that doesn't give you enough, well, here you go. Here's some more for you. I will try to provide links to both of these pages in the description of this video. So is it possible to check if the model works? One of the most interesting parts of currency's fair value model is that it arrives at the rational conclusion that currencies must be trading at their fair value when the number of speculative trades in a particular currency itself is negligible with respect to the total number of overall trades conducted using the same currency as a tool. Such as in the case of when someone trades Bitcoin for Bitcoin Cash because he thinks Bitcoin Cash will perform better. It also arrives at the conclusion that even when the number of speculative trades is not negligible, and the aggregated number of speculative trades is also unbiased and cancels out, then this indicates that the currency must be trading at its fair value. With that in mind, while analyzing the charts, it is in fact possible to determine how much speculation occurred. Furthermore, it can be observed that if the fair value model was wrong, then the values yielded by it would not have anything to do with the price itself. They would actually be totally different numbers, which may differ by a factor between 0 and somewhere in the millions. The reality, however, is that the findings are, as a matter of fact, quite close together, which is something reassuring. Proofs are empirical. The more data that's made available, the more one can be sure that the model is much closer to reality. So when I read that, just as a normal person, I'm college educated, I've got a bachelor's degree. I read that, I'm still pretty confused by all of that. Does the model have uncertainty? So this is where we kind of say, well, there's like some assumptions that have to be made, right? Indeed, it does. So does the model have uncertainty? Indeed, it does. Nonetheless, it is difficult to assess. So it's difficult to assess the uncertainty. Evaluating the uncertainty of a model requires an uncertainty model. Our uncertainty model targets the fact that we cannot be sure that our moving averages are an indication of the non-speculative behavior, utility trades. We take the difference between the logarithm of each model variable and its actual value as the 99th percentile of the uncertainty. This way, changes in the behavioral variables and fast changes in transactions lead to a higher uncertainty. So I'm not going to dig too much more into this in regards to the calculations and uncertainty. And then it talks about the different metrics that are used. Is everything that is below its fair value a bargain? Definitely not. The fact that the market speculates something based off the fair value does not mean that the market is wrong. Speculation is a human assessment of the future outcomes. If the price is below the fair value, it's if the price is below the fair value is because the market thinks its usage is going to decrease with respect to the reference currency. Whether it will do or not is what the investor has to analyze. So you have to remember that these calculations are based on transactions on exponential moving averages based on past data. And so these calculations are projecting the future usage of these currencies. However, it doesn't know what the market knows, and the market might know something fundamental, like there's something that is going to drastically change the number of transactions that will be in the future. So the model doesn't know that, and the market may. So is everything below fair value a bargain? No. Then it tells you that it cannot accurately, so how accurate is the fair value of Euro USD? It says it's not, and that it's impossible to calculate it. And then it says how the price to fair value ratio is to be interpreted. And that's going to be what we talked about earlier with the one, this one right here. So if it's a 1, then that would mean that the price is equal to the fair value. If it's higher than a 1, then the price is higher than the fair value. And if it's below a 1, the price is much lower than the fair value. So when I look at all of these, I see that, hey, well, XRP is way below. And it's making me wonder if that's why this got so much attention. Coinfairvalue.com. There is a place for fundamental investors last year. So this website created by this guy was posted last year. I proudly present to you coin fair value. If you consider yourself a fundamental investor and at the same time you like cryptocurrencies, coin fair value is your place. This website applies a currency's fair value theory I disclosed in the article right here, giving the investor the tools to invest and understand where the value of the currencies derives from. So, in summary, all of this started by this guy posting his theory on the fair value of a currency and him coming up with these calculations. He and then created the website coinfairvalue.com. It has been up for over a year, and we can see people looking at it last year. Nice work. What do you think about this? Very interesting approach. Let's see if your calculations work out. I quite enjoy to see that PIVX seems right now to be one of the most undervalued coins out there. Quite impressive. So he creates the website, posts it over a year ago, and now it is circulating amongst all of us. Quite popular right now. So that's it, guys. I hope that kind of gives you a little bit more information in regards to coin fair value. And that's going to wrap it up. So thanks for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. As always, this is not investment advice. I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.